Gentlemen, tonight we are not doing our usual stream. It is November 8th, 2022. It is election night, midterms. The fate of our democracy shall be decided tonight. Whether or not it is destroyed, as the left has alluded to, or whether or not it will be saved, as I have alluded to. All I know is we're going to watch it. We're going to get an individual breakdown as the elections all come in and the results are counted and tallied. We're going to be getting it from both sides of the aisle. We're going to get left from the CNN, ABC, MSNBC. We're going to get the right from the Fox News. And oh no, there goes my headset. There we go. It is dead. I need to charge that as we go. But luckily enough, I still have my microphone going. So let's go ahead and get into that. We're going to start off right here, right now from the live stream. Let's make sure that we have main monitor on. Let's get camera live stream with main monitor maybe. Live scene, and we're going to get our camera box. That right there, camera box, copy that. We're going to put that right here in our main monitor. Hello. Yeti. Let's copy you. copy that. All right, go to our main monitor. Boom. Hello. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. That should be good. Good. All right. We've got that audio coming in, and we need desktop audio as well. So let's get a video going real quick and make sure that we have audio coming in. Let's just go to this video right here, something that has sound. Okay, so audio. Hello, check 1 2. Check 1 2. Let's see here. Speakers. Good. Right.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Good. Awesome. All right, we are good.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the brand new video, and today, as you can already tell, we're gonna be watching some insurance scammers who got caught in 4K
awesome.
trying
Let's
so
exit out of this, and let's get back to the live coverage. Live coverage of everything. Press play. Good. All right, moving forward. Let's go ahead and get this going at double speed. Anything. Oh, here we go. So our first bits of our coverage. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have senatorial race for Indiana. We've got a difference of 20. So right now, ooh, man, Young is just coming in like a champion. Now, that being said, Young is the incumbent on this race, and there is only 4% of it being done, but they are already calling it for Young. So it's a little early. We're at 4%, as y'all can see right there, 4%. And the difference at 4% is staggering at 22,000. We will see what happens with this one. Indiana is a very important state. We got Senator Paul. He is probably one of my favorite incumbents. Now, as you can see, they are calling it for him at 48.4%, whereas Booker is sitting happily at 51.2%. However, he is the incumbent. This was a heavily red area during the last election, and only 4% of the vote is in or has been counted. That 4% most likely is going to be early mail-in ballots, which are going to heavily sway in the left, the blue, the Democratic candidate's favor. And as the night comes, as the votes come in more and more over the night, we will most likely see more and more votes for Paul. I do not think that this Senate seat will be contested barely at all. Liz Simon, I'm going to play in a bit. Oh, awesome, Liz. I'm not playing, but I am doing election coverage. Oh, who do we got here? Who do we got? It looked like, yep, South Carolina, Scott. Oh, man, Scott is going to destroy her. I'll be honest. There's no way that she stands any chance against Scott. Welch, Vermont, don't know a whole lot about that race. Governor, this is for South Carolina. McMaster is going to win that one again, most likely. More Paul, more. Oh, so let's see here. Oh, more and more coming in. 4%. Okay, we have anything new? Let's go live. Let's just go straight to the live coverage and see if we've got anything new. We've got Ohio, 5% of it has come through. Incumbent DeWine is sitting below his Democratic opponent, but they are calling it for him. 1% in for Welch, and they are, yeah. We'll see what happens with all of this as it goes on. So now that we've seen, as you can tell right now, it appears that we are definitely favoring the right, or the Republicans at this time. Let's go ahead and get into some of the live coverage from the news outlets. All right, Fox News, midterm analysis, blah, 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 blah. All right. midterm election. Boom. All right, who are we watching here? Live midterm results. Oh, here we go. This is usually the one that I like to see. First, let's talk about what is actually going to be going on with the candidates and what we're hoping to see from this.
Joe Biden's hoping the Democrats can pick up seats in both the House and Senate in Tuesday's election.
Yes, Joe Biden is hoping that they can pick up seats in both the House and the Senate. That is definitely not going to happen. We are in a midterm election, which a midterm election is almost always a referendum on the current political power that is in charge. In this case, the Democrats are in charge. They have not been doing well over the last 2 years, and they are going to most likely lose a buttload of seats. In 2020, when the Republicans, we had, I believe, 17 senatorial seats were in contention, and we did not lose one single senatorial seat. Tonight, we have more in contention, and I do not think that the Republicans are going to lose any senatorial seats. I do believe we will pick up some. I, myself, personally believe we will be sitting at 53 senatorial seats for the Republican Party at the end of the election. Probably 46 for the Democrats, and maybe one third-party seat or one other. That would be a great standing for us. Currently, we are sitting at 50-50 with Vice President Kamala Harris casting the tying vote in the Senate. I do not think that the House of Representatives is a point of contention for this election whatsoever. The Republicans are going to win handsomely in the House of Representatives. By how many we will be in the lead, I am not sure, but we only need, I think, 5 seats in order to take the lead, in order to, win the majority. And I think we're going to win a lot more than that. It's going to be something very interesting.
History says they probably won't. Look at the last 7 presidents. Almost all of their parties lost seats in midterm elections, and some of those losses were significant.
Right here, these are our midterm election losses. President Trump, he was elected, he won, and there was a referendum on him 2 years later and on how the Republicans were doing in office, and we ended up losing 38 seats. We had a Republican majority in the House, in the Senate, and we had a Republican president, and then we lost 38 seats in the Senate, overall, and it was just a travesty. But that has happened to everyone. Take a look at Barack Obama, 91 seats, a loss of 91 seats in the House and in the Senate in total. George H.W. Bush right here, very famously, only lost 9 seats in total, and that was insanity, the fact that he only lost 9 seats. Usually in a midterm election, after the first term of a new sitting president, you're going to lose probably about at least 25 to 35 seats at a minimum. We will see what happens with this election, and I think it's going to be much more than, it's probably going to be, in my eyes, along the same lines as Donald Trump. It's probably going to be a 38-seat loss, maybe up into the 40s. If we could get to the 50s, that'd be great, but I don't see that happening.
Democrats had hoped they could run the issue of abortion rights following a controversial Supreme Court decision.
Abortion rights.
But surveys show that inflation is a bigger issue for voters.
Yes, it is.
President Biden is getting a lot of the blame for it.
Yes, it is. Inflation is, in my eyes, and I think a lot of middle America's eyes, our biggest issue. We are seeing prices that we have not seen in my lifetime. We are seeing kind of a playback to Jimmy Carter's time, where we are having fuel issues, we're having cost issues, we're just seeing suffering throughout everywhere in our day-to-day life, and that is what America cares about. Very few people care about the abortion rights issue. Very few people care about democracy is on the ballot. First off, democracy is not on the ballot. The ballot is democracy. You get to vote for who represents you in our republic. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. Make sure we get that straight. Our government is set up as a republic. We elect people to vote for us. We do not vote on every single thing. That is what a democracy is. A democracy is everybody votes every single time. Now, do we democratically vote for our representatives? Yes, we do. But they represent us in our republic. And the way that they represent us is very important. If you are sitting in a purple state, meaning heavily blue, heavily red, put together, makes it purple, it's a mishmash, you could possibly have a Republican win. You could possibly have a Democrat win. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, those two are very much sitting in purple states. They are contentious. There's contention in those states for whether or not the Republican will win or whether or not the Democrat will win. It's not like my state, Louisiana, heavily conservative. We have only one district is extremely left-leaning. The rest of them are all extremely right-leaning. And tonight we have a senatorial election. John Kennedy is going to absolutely crush his competitors. I believe Gary Chambers Jr. is who he is running against as the lead progressive Democratic candidate, and he is going to absolutely get stomped in this election. If Kennedy loses, I will eat my own hat. I will be very surprised. But as I was saying, Americans, do some people care about abortion? Yes, they do. The far left, the extreme woke, those people, they care about the abortion issues that we're having. The thing is, most of middle America doesn't give a rat's about the abortion issue. They understand that we have finally had true federalism when it comes to the abortion issue. What is federalism? Federalism means that as it is above, so it is below. We have taken the issue of abortion and pushed it down to the state level. It is the state's choice on what they do. And if they choose to make it illegal, they do. It is not the federal government's right or job to tell you what you can and cannot do with your child. Note, I said your child, not your body. It is not your body anymore. It is what you are doing to that child. All right, let's continue on.
In the House, all 435 seats are being contested. Republicans only need to pick up 5 seats to take control. Seats are being contested.
Now, right now, as they're showing, this is the current congressional makeup for the House of Representatives. We have 212 conservatives. We have 220 Democrats, and we have 3 vacancies. These 3 vacancies, I believe, were all people who have passed in the last couple of months, and the seats have been unable to be filled until the election process has come in. There are people sitting in those seats, but they are not actually elected officials. They are sitting in them merely as kind of like regents, like a queen regent would if a new king has not been set into his power. Personally, I think that you are going to see probably about a 240. 240 is what I think the conservatives are going to be winning tonight. About 240 seats in the House of Representatives. And
Republicans only need to pick up 5
see what happens.
seats to take control.
But right there. What does she say? 5 seats is all that needs to be picked up. If all 212 current congressmen in the House of Representatives can maintain their seats and 5 seats get picked up, we will have the actual majority in the House of Representatives. That's all we need is 5. It will be a lot more than 5. I personally, as I stated, think it will be somewhere along the lines of 30 in total, which if we only gain about 5 or 6 in the Senate, that means that the other 35 is probably going to be right here. I say probably, would have to be here in the House of Representatives, and that would put us in the 240s, 250s category, which that would make it very nice for us. We'd have a lot of room for some of those rhinos like Mitt Romney, and yeah.
Polls indicate they should do that easily, and they will probably pick up more. The Senate is seen as a toss-up, with 35 seats being contested. Right now, the chamber is divided 50-50, with with the Democrats in the majority because Vice President Kamala Harris can vote in a case of a tie. Republicans need to gain just one seat to take control.
One seat.
The Senate
That's all
could
we
come
need.
down to close races in a number of states, including Pennsylvania, Georgia.
So right here, these are our big, senatorial races that we are worried about. We're going to focus a lot on the congressional races as well, but these are the ones that are important. The senatorial races, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia especially. You've got Georgia's laws do not allow for just the highest percentage of the majority to win. You must have over 50% of the vote, and it does not look like we will have a larger than 50% win from either candidate, the Democrat or the conservative. The Republican, Herschel Walker, is sitting, I think, right now at about 47% by the last poll that I saw, and the other, the Democratic candidate, I cannot remember his name, is sitting at just below that, I think 46%. Neither will have enough to actually win the election, which what will happen at that point is it will go into a runoff election between the two highest earning candidates, which will be the Republican candidate, Herschel Walker, and the Democratic candidate, I cannot remember his name right now to save my life. All of the other candidates will be taken off of the ticket, and it will just be between those two. That way you can get a true percentage of at least 50%. And right here, Pennsylvania as well, same thing. You've got Dr. Emmett Oz against, oh Lord, what's his name? Why am I blanking on it? Fetterman, John Fetterman. John Fetterman, who had a stroke within the last 6 months and is in an extreme cognitive decline. He is in no way, shape, or form fit to run for office. He should not even still be lieutenant governor, and he definitely should not be running in this senatorial race. I do believe that he will lose the race in Pennsylvania, and Dr. Oz will take that seat. And that is going to be a very, very heavily watched election tonight.
Georgia and Nevada. It's possible we won't know who will win for a number of days. Anne-Marie Horder, Bloomberg, Washington.
All right, let's take a look right here. Live 2022.
Faith in God means trusting in Him.
Bam!
He said, "Come unto me."
All right, let's see here. So, again, right now we're still seeing extremely small percentages coming in. Look at what we have here. We have Florida governor race. DeSantis is throttling Crist, which, I am of the belief that Ron DeSantis will win this handsomely. I do believe that if he also runs for president in 2024, he would absolutely crush Joe Biden if Joe Biden, as the incumbent, were to run on the Democratic ticket. Personally, for me, for 2024, I would love to see either Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump run for president and have Noel as their vice president. And I think that would be a truly amazing president, vice president ticket, and they would crush whichever Democrat is on the ticket. 71% of the precincts reporting, and he is 56% up, or 56%. So I think 13 points up. Massachusetts governor, yeah, she's probably going to win that race. Tennessee governor, I am going for Lee. I do believe Lee will win this. 5% McMaster, race called now. Let's see here. Coming in 6,000. Okay, so see, right there, as we just saw. So right here, we're at 8% have reported in the Ohio governor race. But as I stated earlier, early election coverage is mainly going to favor the Democrats because early voting, mail-in ballots, those are much more swayed to the left. The Democrats usually have higher percentages in the beginning of the race, and then as the votes come in throughout the night, we will slowly start to see that lead chip down further and further and further, and then these far right, these Republicans will start taking that lead up. Oh, excuse me. We'll start taking over that lead, and it's going to be something amazing to watch. What was the difference right there we just saw? So yeah, we just saw So he's at 48.9%, with a 8,800 vote difference, and then right there we just saw a jump of 2,600 votes just right there. It's going to be a tight race, and we will see what happens. Lots of these races are going to be super tight. Probably going to come in with just a couple of thousand ballots between them. Oh, wow. Ivy. Let's go. My boy DeSantis, he's going to crush Chris so bad. He's going to just completely destroy him. Blah, blah, blah. No. Let's go live. Anything more? Okay, so now let's get back into another video. Let's see what CNN has for us right now. Let's take a gander at what CNN has for us. CNN. Boom. We'll click on them, click on their videos, and what are we watching here? CNN, Dave Chandler breaks down exit polls on night election. That was 1 hour ago. You know, let's go ahead and take that one. Let's take a look at this one. Let's see what we got from CNN.
Why do so many large programs across the West not work? It's because there's a multi-billion.
Yeah, Jake, first I just want to say these are preliminary initial exit poll results. These are surveys that we've done of voters who voted on Election Day, as well as the tens of millions of voters who voted prior to Election Day. This is a representative sample of the overall electorate. So we want to take a look at what the national environment looks like for voters voting in this midterm election.
So there's one thing that is not necessarily good about an exit poll. You have what has happened in the last couple of elections with polling, and that is the some call it the shy Republican problem, and that is people, they get these exit polls both by being at the polling place, emails, phone calls, social media poll gathering, and many other formats. And there are a lot of people who, especially on the conservative side, who are very untrusting of people trying to find out political information about them. And therefore, some of these polls can be very, very incorrectly skewed.
Feelings about the way things are going in the U.S. This is a bleak picture from this electorate. Look down here. 39% dissatisfied. 34% are downright angry. That's 73%, 3/4.
So right here, this poll is saying, how are people feeling about how the country is going? Now, if the Democrats were doing a good job, right, that would mean that, you have the normal Democrats on one hand and the normal Republicans on the other hand, and that is usually about a 50-50 spread. That would mean that 50% of the people think that they are doing a good job, and 50% of the people think that they're not doing a good job. That is normal party line polling. Right here, you are seeing that 5% are enthusiastic, thinking they're doing a good job. 20% are, satisfied, meaning, it's okay. That is an average of only 25%. That would be half of the Democrats. That is bleak at best. Look at 39 and 34. That is 73%. 73% are not happy with how the country is being ran, with the Democrats running the House, the Senate, and the White House. Thank God that the conservatives currently have control of the Supreme Court, and hopefully by the end of the night, we will have control of everything except for the executive branch and the White House.
Of the electorate tell us they're dissatisfied or angry, only 5% enthusiastic, 20% satisfied. Joe Biden's approval rating, a key marker in midterm elections. 45% of those voting in this midterm election nationally, 45% approve of the job Biden's doing, 54% disapprove. This kind of looks like what we've seen in a lot of the pre-election polling. He is upside down, and he's well below 50% approval. What about Biden as a factor in your vote? Well, he is a factor for about half of those voting today. 18%, though, say the factor is they're supporting Biden with their vote today. 32%, a third of people voting in this election, say they're doing so to oppose Joe Biden. 48%, the other half roughly, say Biden's not.
Right there, what he just said. They are voting in the election in order to oppose Joe Biden. I do believe that that is going to have a large impact in the numbers that we're going to be seeing from this election. The actual numbers that we're going to see are going to be much higher than I think we've seen in previous years, especially for a midterm election, let alone just a general election. And a lot of that has to do with 32% are purely going to the polls because they don't appreciate or respect or, just in general, like how Joe Biden is doing in the White House. And as stated earlier by myself, the midterm election is a referendum on the current president and the current political power, which in all three of the major houses, the House of Representatives, the House of the President, and the House of Senate, it is all Democrat ran, and it is a referendum on them.
Not a factor at all. And how about Biden policies? Are they helping or hurting the country? Well, according to these early preliminary exit polls, and again, some
this
of these
is
numbers
surprising.
may shift as we get more
36% thinks he's helping.
46%
That is shocking.
of the electorate says Biden's policies are hurting the country. That's compared to 36%, a smaller portion, who say his policies are helping. 16% say they're not making a difference at all.
Jalian, some brutal numbers for President Biden right there, Dan. And I have to say, the last one is, to me, the most significant. A plurality, 46% say Biden's policies are hurting the country. 16% not making a difference, which isn't exactly a resounding endorsement either. That's 62% of the people out there who think that his policies are hurting the country or they're not making any difference.
And a third saying that they are using their vote, even though Joe Biden's not on the ballot, to show their opposition to him with regard to Congress or others. To me, though, the whole ball game is that first one. We've covered politics for a long time, and yes, there are things that change a lot. One thing that has never changed is what we call right track, wrong track, whether people just feel good or not about the country. Yeah. And the fact that almost 75%, so 3/4 of Americans are either dissatisfied or downright angry, that is brutal.
You know what this is lining up? Like 3 first-term midterm elections. The first midterm after a new president, 94, Clinton, 2010, Obama, 2018, Trump. And in all of those cases, the president's party, 2 times Democrats, 1 Republican, lost between 40 and 63 seats. When people are unhappy with the state of the country and they don't think the president is helping, they think he's hurting, they take it out on the president's party.
Yes,
and
they do.
I don't know
And it's
see
going to
40
happen
63
tonight.
Seats lost. But it doesn't bode well for the Democrats.
As I said,
really
high
simple.
30s into the 40s. That's what I think is going to happen.
All kinds of other stuff. But when Americans are unhappy, and in this case, we know they are unhappy about the state of the economy and their pocketbooks, it really kind of boils
Especially
down to
that.
And the party in power gets
It's the money.
penalized for the sour mood that this electorate is.
Well, I mean, and the reality here, I mean, this number, so 25% of people are enthusiastic or satisfied.
That's
That means
it.
that there are a heck of a lot of Democrats out there who are
What did I just say?
satisfied or angry.
Absolutely.
Half
Let's go.
the
David John
Democrats
has some
do
more
not
numbers
like
from
the
exit
job
polls.
that
David.
they are doing right now.
The
Half
stock
of them.
market has had its worst year since 1970, and there's nothing the Fed can do to stop.
That's not true. There's absolutely something the Fed can do to stop it.
Jake, we're taking a look at the issues that are driving voters' decisions in this election. We asked folks in the exit poll, and again, this is preliminary information. We'll get more as the night goes on. What was the most important issue to your vote? Inflation for 32% of the electorate. This is a national look at those showing up to vote today.
I'll be honest. I do not believe this poll in any way, shape, or form. I do not see how inflation can only be 32% of the people's biggest issue. 32%. Inflation has to be at least 50%. There is no way that abortion is almost the same level as inflation. I believe that this poll, I don't know. Okay, so this is the CNN exit poll. So CNN is the one that actually did this poll. So that does tell you that it most likely is skewed incorrectly in the left's favor. So they're not dumb enough to say that inflation is not everyone's biggest issue, because that is very obvious. For them to, say that it's 32%, this is clearly not accurate. Abortion is also definitely not above crime and probably is not even above immigration. Could it be above gun policy? I think, yeah, it could be. You have a lot of people who have never liked guns, never trust guns. It could very well be above gun policy. But me personally, I believe that the actual issue level of importance here, over 50% is probably going to be inflation. Immigration and crime are probably both going to be very close to each other at about 15% or so. That's going to leave us at about 80%. I believe that abortion is going to probably take a high number of that 20% right there, probably about 12%. And then the other 8% is going to be gun policy.
Interestingly, abortion, 27% of the electorate said it was the most important issue of their vote. That's sort of a closer second than we've seen in a lot of pre-election polling. Crime at 12%, gun policy at the same place, 12%, and immigration down to 10%. But let's dig into that issue number one, inflation. We asked folks, what is the condition of the nation's economy? What you see here is that
24%
of the electorate,
24% said bad.
Poor 39%. Add that together, 75% of the electorate today says thumbs down on the state of the economy. We also asked,
our economy is in the shitter.
Has inflation caused harm to your family or hardship
Absolutely.
to your family?
Look at that. 78%. 78%.
Severe hardship. Another 58% tell us moderate hardship. So that's combined together nearly 8 in 10 voters
and I personally think that everyone has felt this, whether it's the increase in price of food, the increase in price of gas, the increase in price of everything in your home. Myself, I believe that I've seen our bills increase by probably 10 to 20% everywhere, whether it's our home heating bill, our gas bill, our food budget. It's all of it has just increased, and for some people who have no cushion, that 10 to 20% can be absolutely gutting.
Some kind of hardship. 22% say no hardship. And we asked, how does your financial situation compare to what it was 2 years ago? Sort of the classic political question. 46% of voters in this election across the country are telling us their financial situation is worse than 2 years ago. 35% say about the same. Only 18% say better. And gas prices specifically, as you guys know, the Biden White House has been focused on gas prices every day.
Have they, though?
Yes,
have they? Because if they were focused on gas prices, what would they be doing? They would be doing everything possible to increase our oil supply and lower the price of gas. That means get the pipeline going again. Start, opening up those leases on federal lands in order for us to drill, whether it's for natural gas, crude oil, coal. We need to become a net exporter of energy again. We are in an energy crisis.
We all know that it's not a surprise. The second one being abortion, and 27% of people saying that is the most important issue to your vote. Talk to Democrats on the campaign trail in the White House. They say that's the reason why a lot of Democratic candidates are even in the game right now. Not that it's really going to change the outcome ultimately of control, but it at least keeps Democratic candidates.
And what's so interesting is that, and I must say, I am surprised that abortion turns out to be the most important issue for so many people.
Yes,
but
I am surprised because there's no way.
They spent 10 times more on advertising on abortion than they had on inflation. And I think they're going to look back on that. I mean, clearly, there was a Dobbs mirage. They thought that the Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade was going to be a silver bullet and it was going to carry them to victory.
Nope.
But it turns out inflation was the key issue.
I would describe the Dobbs scenario as a mirage. I mean, I think when you talk to Republicans, end of the summer, and Democrats, it was very, very real. It totally changed the dynamic. Democrats will say they had to hit the gas on abortion, maximize that because of what we're seeing in the exits. A full quarter of the electorate came out to vote on that issue.
Again, there's no way that exit poll is correct. There is no fucking way that exit poll is actually accurate. Pardon my French. There's no way that exit poll is accurate. the CNN has definitely skewed this poll. Do I think abortion was a high issue? Yes, I do believe it is. Abortion has been a high issue for years. Same thing for gun control and crime, inflation, and immigration. Those are always your highest, priorities. But the fact that if you take a look at all of the other pieces, all the other things that they're polling, those numbers do not jive with these numbers. There's no freaking way. And as she is saying, yes, their biggest problem that the Democrats did right here, now she's framing it as a positive thing. The previous person, unfortunately, I cannot remember his name. He did the presidential debate between Biden and Trump, but I cannot remember his name right now to save my life. He pointed out that it was a big issue, the fact that the Democrats were pushing too hard on the issue of abortion, and it was they thought it was going to be a silver bullet, and it wasn't. It was, in fact, a mirage. People do not care as much about abortion as they do about the quality of their day-to-day life. Because guess what? Even if abortion were legal in your state, how often do you or people you know have an abortion? Almost freaking never. How often do you fill up your gas tank? How often do you go and get groceries? How often do those things affect your life? Every single day.
But the problem is, the one thing that sticks around throughout all of this is the economy, and that is what is rearing back to the forefront for so many.
What I thought
it never left,
here,
my dear.
David Chalian pointed out is that the numbers in these exits do not line up with what we were seeing in the polling data going into this election about what people cared about and the order in which they ranked it. So we have had a lot of questions throughout this time about new voters, people that hadn't been in there before that were perhaps not getting captured by the polling. So maybe this is a sign that we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight than we expected. We obviously don't know yet.
And you know what's missing from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 5 issues? Democracy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even in here. It's not to
Yeah,
say that
because it's not going to be on there. It's not going to be on there.
Well, I do think that when we
yeah,
looked at
because
that,
see, the thing is, y'all have tried to make it the issue that democracy is on the ballot. Democracy is not on the ballot. You people are insane if you think democracy is on the ballot. If you think that whoever is going to win these elections is not going to actually win them and that the votes won't be certified, you are insane. Even in the 2020 election, was there a lot of contention? Were there lawsuits? Were there everything like that? Yes, there was. In fact, so far, the only lawsuit that we have about the election and about the votes is actually from the Democratic Party themselves. The John Fetterman campaign has filed a suit against Pennsylvania for their mail-in ballots. How if they are not done correctly, they needed to be counted. That is not the Pennsylvania law. The Pennsylvania law states that if a ballot is mailed in and it is not correct, it will be sent back to the voter in order to be fixed. And if it is fixed before Election Day, it will be counted. If it is not fixed before Election Day, then it will not be counted. And they are filing suit against the state of Pennsylvania in order to make sure that those votes get counted, because they know, as I have stated, the Democrats have a higher percentage of early votes and mail-in votes than the Republicans do, and they need those numbers, especially in Pennsylvania, which is going to be one of the most heavily contested states of this election.
Exits where people said, I'm unhappy about the direction the country's going, I'm angry. I wonder how many of that is people who are angry about the state of our politics.
Oh, the state of our politics.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, it's tough to read these poll numbers without more detail. Obviously, abortion, 27%. We don't know that they're all supportive of abortion rights.
I'll tell you, though, a lot of, the partisans think those are all
Sure, and it might make a difference in Pennsylvania, Michigan, et cetera. We're closing in on the first vote tallies of this election.
All right, let's take a look at this live coverage right here. Steve Kornacki analyzed election data in real time from MSNBC. Now, do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, MSNBC is definitely a far left-leaning outlet. We will be getting back to a right-leaning outlet, Fox News, live now from Fox in just a moment after we watch some of this election coverage from the left and see what we get. Let's see what we got here. Currently, we have 59% of the votes in, for the Georgia election, and we have 26,000 in for Ralph Warnock, and we have 11,919 in for Herschel Walker. So 68% and 30%. Again, way too early to call this. This is going to be a very tight race. Oh, there's my mother. Hello, Mom. Oh, back at it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah. There we go. Spalding County, 56%, 41%. Let me see. Do we have any? It won't let me. Bollocks. All right, so let's see. Americans Decide campaign. Let's see what CBS has to say. We don't care about you, lady. Shut your face.
So he has been appealing to that change.
Very interesting. Now, very quick.
Appealing to that.
House estimates to win 181 to 158 right now is the House estimate. 30, so 23 seats up, 218 to win. We are getting closer to that. Now, that is just an estimate for right now.
Very quickly before I let you go,
36-36.
what is the latest
the Senate.
on that tight congressional race that's in focus?
Which one?
That's right. We're talking about the New Hampshire's congressional 1st district. And incumbent Democratic Congressman Chris Pappas is facing Caroline Leavitt, and we'll leave you more with the latest. Back to you.
Leavitt! Go Leavitt!
Western New Hampshire, thank you so much. Good to see you. You're watching CBS News coverage of America Decides. We have a lot more after the break.
Oh, goddamn, all these breaks. Let's go back to Fox News and see what's happening. 80% in so far. for Florida governor, and DeSantis is just increasing his lead. He's at 58% now. I knew he was going to fucking own this. 80% in for the gubernatorial race in Maryland. Really? What? These are extremely low numbers. 80% is in, and they're only showing, what, 3,400 votes? That doesn't seem right, but I could be wrong on that. 9% in for Tennessee. Yeah, Lee's probably going to take that pretty high. South Carolina, this one could be a toss-up. Ohio, see, like I said, so earlier when we were in Ohio, we were at 51% for Whaley, the Democrat, and we were at, I think, 48% for DeWine, the Republican incumbent. And now, as we're increasing, we're at 25%. Now he has increased to a 100,000 vote lead. Again, though, these are all the governor races. And the governor races are important, but the senatorial races are much, much, much more important. All right, so where are the senatorial races at? That's what I want to see. All right, let's take a gander. Oh, let's see the 5 Democrats will get a reality check. Let's see what they are talking about on the 5. What is this from? It's about an hour ago.
After countless hours of campaigning and candidates fighting to win over voters, it is now time for you to decide. The first polls closing in less than an hour from now, and what happens tonight could send shockwaves across the country. Washington and the rest of the states are not going
Which
to...
for Louisiana still has 29 minutes left in the polls. 8 o'clock is when the polls close in Louisiana. Several states have already closed their polls between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Louisiana is one of the few states that stays open until 8 o'clock.
The same after tonight. Democrats are bracing for the worst-case scenario, a red tsunami wiping out their delicate grip on the House and the Senate. Republicans very confident as America gets ready to start counting.
That's right.
We're going to have a red wave all across this country, and you all are going to make it happen.
This red wave that found its headwaters here in the Commonwealth of Virginia sweep across the Commonwealth again. I want you to watch Nancy Pelosi hand me that gavel.
Pennsylvania is sending a very clear message to Washington. We want less radical.
So right here, this is the Virginia governor who won. He had no political experience, a former businessman, and he destroyed the previous governor, and it was just so good. He won. The lieutenant governor, also conservative, and the attorney general for the state. Same thing. No, sorry, the DA. Wait, was the attorney general DA? I think it was the district attorney. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know why. But all 3 of them swept as conservatives, and it was amazing to watch.
That found its headwaters here in the Commonwealth of Virginia sweep across the Commonwealth again. I want you to watch Nancy Pelosi hand me that.
And right here, we have the guy who will be taking over, most likely, as the Speaker of the House if the Democrats are deposed and the Conservatives take over. Cannot wait to see this. Pelosi get put in her place. Chuck Schumer get put in his fucking place.
That gavel. Pennsylvania is sending a very
Let's go,
clear
Dr.
message to
Oz.
Washington. We want less radicalism and more balance.
We know where inflation came from. It came from Joe Biden's White House.
You listen to our president say that, the biggest threat to democracy is voting for a Republican. No, the biggest threat to democracy is keep him in the White House.
And I'm talking about win, not just win an election, but win big. Win one of those wins that are so big that it sends a very clear message that we are not going to let anyone destroy our state, and we're not going to let anyone destroy our country.
President Biden putting on his best face while admitting that his party could be in for a pretty rough night.
Yes, they are in for a fucking rough-ass night, ladies and gentlemen. Bam. Skip ad. What do we got?
Well, I'm feeling, I'm optimistic, and I'm always optimistic.
The Democrats win the House?
I think it's going to be tough, but I think we can. I think we'll win the Senate, and I think the House is tougher.
I'll be honest, that is as true a statement as I think that Joe Biden could have given in that moment. He knows, and I think everyone who will be watching tonight, who knows anything about politics, knows that the Democrats cannot keep the House. There's no way they can. If they do that, I will be shocked. The Senate, however, they could keep the Senate. They could. It could not go how. It could go not how I think it's going, how I think it will, and they could keep the Senate. It is a possibility. There is no possibility that they will keep the House, though. The House is going to flip for certain, and the Senate is most likely to flip. But it could be close.
Democrats will have to do some soul searching if they lose big. Washington Post columnist says the Democrats are drowning in denial as they appear to be heading toward painful losses. For nearly 2 years, Democratic leadership has often pushed aside politically inconvenient developments rather than facing them head on. They have often told themselves stories they want to believe instead of stories that are true and that might motivate them to change their messaging or policy direction. And one of the candidates on the Democratic side, Tim Ryan of Ohio, he was on a show on another network, and this is how he thinks it's going to go. Watch this.
Tim Ryan with his closing argument on tonight's Last Word. Thank you very much.
We're going to bring it home, Lawrence.
Yeah, Miller Lite, buddy. We are bringing it home. We're going to bring it the fuck home.
On election night for us.
That's such a Harold Ford move. Look, Tim Ryan, I think, is the most talented candidate the Democrats put forward for the Senate this year, and I wish him the best tonight. But we've said it well. Whatever happens tonight, Democrats are going to have to have a rendezvous with reality around a number of issues. I think Republicans, regardless of what happens tonight, I hope they shift more towards problem solving. I was encouraged to hear Leader McCarthy, the minority leader in the House, begin to say that, look, we're going to support
So Leader McCarthy,
we're not going to be as intoxicated.
for those of you who don't know, McCarthy was the one who I said a moment ago will be taking the gavel away from Nancy Pelosi if the Republicans take control of the House, which there's no way that they won't take control of the House. That will definitely happen. And I believe that if we take over the Senate, then Ted Cruz will take over as Senate pro temperate. I'm not 100% certain, though, on that. I believe that's who will take it over. For those of you who don't know, the line of succession when it comes to the presidency, you have the president, you have the vice president. Below that, you have the Senate pro temperate, and then the Speaker of the House.
With investigating, we realize that energy, the border, these are issues that Americans want to address, and we're going to do that. But let's wait and see what happens tonight. I think the president's right. This is going to be a tough night in the House. I've said for a while I've agreed with the conventional thinking.
No.
On your show,
no.
Brian.
It's not going to be a tough night in the House. It's going to be a tough beat for them in the House. They're going to get stomped in the House. It's going to be a tough night in the Senate. They could maintain the Senate. It's going to be a fist fight. They will not maintain the House. If they do, I will be shocked to my core.
I know on this show that Democrats are going to have a tough time. In the Senate, this is still a jump ball. The polling is still very tight. I'm going to be as surprised as anyone to see what the results are this evening. But one thing is for certain, I will accept the results, and I will encourage my party to work with whichever party's in the majority and encourage this White House to do the same.
So I think Harold does not believe democracy will die tonight, Judge, which is a good thing. That's good news.
Democracy lives.
So last vote ever. Well, you know what? Your president thinks so if the Democrats don't win. But, you know, I kind of liken this to...
Baby, is that you?
Okay. And the jury is the American people.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in just a moment. We're going to take a quick intermission.
Soundstripe. Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
Don't get married, ladies and gentlemen. It's a nightmare. It's a minefield.
The electorate, and the candidates get to make their case with evidence. So the question is that what evidence did they put forward that made sense, that resonated, that made, that really was relevant to your life? And then you have the closing arguments. The closing arguments of Joe Biden. I mean, they made no sense. The truth is that the Democrats did not connect with the American people on the issue of safety, crime, immigration, education, inflation, the economy. And so I think the dissonance and the misalignment is going to be loud, and it's going to be across the country.
Agreed.
And I think that after Americans deliberate and after they vote, that verdict is going to be one that's going to be very painful for the Democrats. But at least we've got an opportunity to change the course midterm.
Jesse, the president says he's an optimist, that he's optimistic, but if you listen to the tone, I think he sounded also a little bit tired. It's been a long campaign.
Oh, yeah,
He
he's
sounded
exhausted.
tired his whole career. My mom thinks there's going to be a red wave. That's how big it's going to be.
Wow.
Usually, if you're in power, you're bracing for the midterms, but you have something to run on, something to plant your flag and say, this is what we did.
They had abortion, but they didn't. But
they don't talk about
no one cares
COVID.
about it.
They don't talk about infrastructure. They never built anything. They don't talk about the economy. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
with the
What
economy.
happened to that infrastructure package?
Republicans have
What's
such a big
being?
advantage.
What
They
is
have
it
a
being used for?
smorgasbord of issues to run on, if that's a real word. You can pick and choose. Tudor Dixon's running on schools in Michigan. Blake Masters is running on the border in Arizona. And here in New York, Zeldin's running on crime. And all these issues cut across race, gender, age lines. So Republicans have a huge opportunity to gain a whole new subsection of voters and then capitalize on this perfect storm of issues that affect everybody. Now, the key for Republicans, though, is once they win, which they will, to lock in these gains
Yes.
and not waste it and
Don't
do nothing
waste
and
it.
blow
God.
it, and then just like have these same voters be up for grabs next cycle.
Two things. One, smorgasbord, you pronounced that very well.
I did.
I thought it was impressive. And the second thing is a lot of the candidates that, on both sides really, but the recruitment on the Republican side is really impressive. A lot of them are younger. So if they win tonight, they got a long career ahead of them. If they
Hopefully.
don't, they might choose to run again. This is also the first election, Brian, since
Can't wait till I get to run in a couple of
people
years.
will have a chance to have their say.
And we're dialing back some of the things that we did during COVID to make it easier, where the unrequested ballots just show up at your door. The drop box on every corner have stopped, and we're seeing how that
Thank
works
God.
out. A couple of things. I noticed that Dr. Oz is talking like a moderate. Let's have balance. I also noticed that Lee Zeldin's talking about balance today. They're smart, like Youngkin did at the end. He knew.
Glenn Youngkin. Glenn Youngkin, for those of you who do not know or were not following the elections, the one he was wearing the red vest earlier. He is the one who was part of the three Republicans who won and swept the state of Virginia. He won the gubernatorial race against a previous two-time governor, and it was just Glenn Youngkin. That was an amazing election. And you know what he won on? He won on the actual things that the Virginians were worried about, mainly education. That's really what took him to the victory, was covering education. And if we can maintain that laser focus on the issues, we can win this.
Comfortable with me that are Democrats. So I think that's really smart. The other thing that I think is important, you said Tim Ryan's very talented. When Tim Ryan first came in, he talked like Kristen Sinema. He's a deeper voice and taller, but he would talk like Kristen Sinema, like he's looking to make deals. I'm a moderate from. He took on Nancy Pelosi, but he totally switched. He never voted away from the party.
Dim scramble to stop the red wave.
Now
Good
he wants
luck.
Ohioans to accept him as a Republican that kind of likes Trump. And that's what I'm saying is, Harold, is like he had an opportunity. He's talented, but he chose not to be standing up for his rights. If there are people like you on the Democratic Party, and like he claims to be, this is their opportunity. If the blue states get smashed,
Brian,
if they get smashed, it would free them up to act like more like Americans.
He's the only Democrat running for the U.S. Senate who has openly said he wishes that Joe Biden does not run in 2024 and that he won't support him. I hear you, but you got to give credit where credit is due. He's the best.
Well, once in a while, if he stood up and said, this whole infrastructure thing doesn't make sense, or the mini Build Back Better, the Inflation Reduction Act, I can't sign off on that. Then I would say he had something to run on.
He watches Fox and Friends. Give him a little credit there.
Well, we can't help it. There's no other choice. I mean, have you flipped around in the morning, Harold? There is no choice.
I think he drinks and watches Fox and Friends.
Right. A light beer. He thinks he's Billy Martin.
That's what I do in the makeup room as I get ready for newsroom.
You just
throw
have
a
a
few
beer?
back, getting ready to watch it.
You have never thrown a few back, ever.
I have.
Watch me. All right.
Watch
we are
me.
just getting started here on the 5 as we count down to the first polls closing. Make sure you stay with Fox News all night. Democracy 2022 special coverage. It starts right at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have all the results, expert analysis, and much more. It starts right after the 5.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe
to Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else. Love it. Sandra Smith, President Biden says what he believes 45 minutes ago. Let's see what this is.
Do you know how we got into?
Hello, my love.
There's queso and salsa in the kitchen. You may have all of the salsa. You may not have all of the queso, but you can
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife is telling me that there is queso and salsa in the kitchen. We have corn tortilla chips, and she is trying to limit my freedoms as an American to how much queso and first off, do you see this? Do you see this bald head? This is a man who enjoys queso and salsa. See this? This is a light beer. This is Miller Lite. I get this when I go to Mexican restaurants, and she is trying to limit me. Excuse me. This is not health care. I don't want it limited. Come here. Come here. Give me a kiss. Oh, no, sweetie. Intermission. Boom. You're off camera. Give me a kiss. Intermission. Boom.
Soundstripe.
That's what I taste. Where is this salsa?
Soundstripe. 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 Soundstripe.
All right, here we go. Back at it. Main monitor, play.
The economic mess we're in right now and the major storm we're about to face, well, this man knows.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say it was a stroke of genius. President Biden's final statement, no carbon, no drilling, no coal, no nothing. Well, maybe I'm wrong. We'll talk about it with Sandra Smith, co-anchor of America Reports, the great Sandra Smith. Pretty brilliant, pretty clever. Is there Biden, or am I missing something here?
Can you believe that was his final pitch, his closing argument to voters who might be undecided heading into Election Day? The Wall Street Journal took the whole thing on. His closing argument, higher energy prices. That's basically what he was promising voters if you vote Democrat. The New York Post this morning, Biden keeps accidentally telling the truth about his deadly energy agenda. I mean, can you imagine in a moment where we're paying more than $1 higher gas prices, you've still got oil hovering, around $90, $100 a barrel.
Okay, so this is just obvious stuff, so we're going to switch out of this.
I'm already looking at.
Go over to this here live
if you
coverage.
Own a home in one
Want
of these
live
11
coverage
states
tonight.
of America, do not under any circumstances install solar panels on your roof. It'll end up being the worst decision you've made for your home. Did you know
Nice.
that in certain states of America, the Biden-Harris administration launched new solar initiatives to enable Americans to save large amounts on their electricity bill or even stop paying for
is attacking her. I read somewhere today that the Democrat Party were calling her the worst candidate in the country. They said that Fetterman in Pennsylvania had calling her is attacking. We don't know who's coming in.
Into the US, both legally or illegally. Should those people be vaccinated against COVID-19?
I don't want people coming into our country illegally through Arizona, and that's why we have a very strong border. And that's why we have a very strong border policy. We've had 5 million people pour across our border,
States, blah, blah,
and
blah.
Problems happening. We have seniors who don't. It's not done in vain. And
Here, we'll go to about 10 minutes past.
That it was. She
House
argued that the incident was a direct result of a concerted
7131.
campaign of lies and intimidation by you and your allies. Do you have a response to that?
That is absolutely absurd. And are you guys buying that? Are you really buying that? Because this sounds like a Jussie Smollett part 2.
Ha look at that. And that's a CNN news poll. Fucking A.
Obviously, you don't want to cover the real story today, which we are 11 points up in the polls. And you want to distract the people with an old story. And I can't believe that she would blame my amazing people or blame me for something like that. I don't even know where her campaign office is. I'm assuming it's in a basement somewhere. Because that's where she's been campaigning. And you guys are despicable for falling into that trap. You drag the American people through so many BS stories like
love it.
Jussie Smollett.
Ugh,
and you're
I
letting
love it. I fucking love
We're
it.
really honored to have his endorsement. He's also a friend of mine, and I think he's a great man. Thank you for asking that question, sir. Who are you with?
For asking again. Oh, sorry, Chase with 12 News.
Hi.
I know you already talked about it, but I just want to say, in regards to the Arizona Democratic Party basically blaming you for what happened with Katie Hobbs, I know you talked about it, but again, are you surprised this happened? But also,
that's what the world
I don't want to say condone because they're still
especially
investigating,
Arizona, almost
but
turned into Cali.
just your reaction to that whole situation.
My reaction is I'm really I'm saddened that that Hobbs and her camp would try to pin this on us. It's defamatory and it's wrong. And it's so obvious what's happening. Her own party is attacking her. I read somewhere today that the Democrat Party were calling her the worst candidate in the country. They said that Fetterman in Pennsylvania had the courage to debate, but she doesn't. They said she's running the worst campaign they've ever seen in the history of politics. These were Democrats saying that. She's trying to deflect her own abysmal campaign. And the fact that, nobody even knows where her campaign office is. The person who broke into it probably didn't even realize it was a campaign office. It's really sad. And the fact that you guys are running with this story, shame on you. We have a wide open border
Wide
right
open.
now with thousands
Fucking
of people
open
pouring
as
across
shit.
it. Shame on you for covering this story ad nauseum. Shame on you for covering a story when we have fentanyl pouring across, killing our young people, literally killing our young generation. Shame on you for not covering that story.
Carrie, why will
And shame on you for not covering the story about what's happening to our children in these schools, where they're being forced an education that's not truly an education, but indoctrination. There are serious problems happening. We have seniors who don't have enough money. They're watching their retirement savings shrivel up under Joe Biden's inflation. A third of it is gone since he took office. So shame on each and every one of you for covering this bogus story. Next, you already had a question. Anybody who hasn't had a question?
Why won't Hobbs be hearing?
Well, she's a coward.
She's a coward.
She's got a terrible record. She knows that I will call her out for being a twice convicted racist. The fake news won't cover that.
Ooh, twice convicted.
Fake news won't cover that Katie Hobbs is a twice convicted racist. She's cost the people of this.
Let's see
They
what the
grab
live
me.
is.
And you can spot them from across the room. There is a loss in their lives that can never be replaced. And we're losing thousands of young people. When they tell me they lost a son to fentanyl, when they lost a daughter to fentanyl poisoning, this is why we are
All right, let's see what the current.
so hard to secure that border.
We
and stop
have Governor of the United States, 14-6, 30 still open. We'll see what happens with that.
From pouring across. I'm used to attack ads.
Ugh, Louisiana, fucking. Yeah. I hate our governor.
I've had probably more money spent against me than any candidate they're seeing in the attack ads.
All
I've
right,
been in
U.S.
the
Senate. All right, this is the important one, boys and girls. We have 34 to 28 open, 26, 50 to control. I'm hoping for about 53 for us, for the conservatives for tonight. And it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
For 27 years. And additionally, besides attack ads, I've had 100% negative lying coverage by the fake news of me and my campaign and our people. And so we've withstood that. And we will win. And we're going to do great things for Arizona despite what you guys say. Guys, can you be really loud? Because I can't hear you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for racist, no matter who comes in to campaign for her. Anybody else have a question?
Was it a mistake to make light of the attack on Paul Pelosi yesterday?
I never made light on the attack. I was talking about our children and why they don't have better security at school. And I said that our politicians
Donald Trump's
have
speech to
security,
U.S. live. Here we go. Trump, what do you got to say, my man?
This tiny power guard protects me from EMF radiation. Here's
No,
what
it
the
doesn't.
electronics industry doesn't want you to know.
Last week, at her request, a radical left lunatic judge named Engoron, Democrat, big radical left Democrat.
Big radical left Democrat.
Out of control, Trump-hating maniac.
Ugh.
Who is totally dominated by my worst enemies in the Democrat Party. This is a judge that's dominated. This is a guy that's going to make a decision on me and those boys and my family. And hates Trump beyond anything you. I don't know him.
They have to be fair
but he
here.
actually said in court that, quote, he's just a bad guy, Trump. He's a bad guy. I never met the gentleman. I know nothing about him. I created thousands and thousands of jobs, built an unbelievable country. The company that I built is unbelievable. Very little debt, unbelievable assets.
Joe Biden's
Great
most
everything.
awkward
It's great.
gaps.
And I got this
All right,
guy.
let's go back to our live election coverage, see if we've got any changes to this. Okay. Iowa governor and Wyoming governor. Okay. God, I'd love to see just the biggest fucking red wave tonight. Fucking awesome. All right, 30% in, 55% for McMaster. Oh, 57% now. 35% in, 57%. 27%, 73. Once again, though, why are they so worried about the gubernatorial elections? 59%. We know DeSantis is going to fucking own this race. 85% of the precincts reporting. Here we go. Governor race. 1% in so far on that one. 3% in on this one. Yeah, Haley. We'll see about that one. I think she's going to take that one fairly easily. Tennessee governor, Arkansas. Oh, yeah, Huckabee Sanders right here. Those of you who may not remember her, this was Donald Trump's press secretary, and now she is running for governor, and I do think she will win this race. Okay, again, why are we so focused on gubernatorial shit? Let's see what Tucker has to say right now.
Go the same way as Kansas, but that's
kind of my focal point there. I really liked what Harold Ford was talking about with Tim
Wisconsin
Ryan.
senator and governor race
When you
is
have
too early
Jared
to call.
Polis up there, who's also won his race already, you know, looking to Democrats who can be examples for how you can run effective races in purple places, and, you know, make an appealing argument on the economy, but also be left-leaning on social issues, but not feel like pariahs.
But let me
Good
ask
luck
you
with
this.
that one.
If the House, as projected, goes to the
Right.
Republicans and the
Which it
Senate is
will.
very tight and maybe it goes to Republicans, maybe it stays the same, do you think that message is the one they're going to take away from this election?
No, it's not.
I worry no. I
Yep.
think that there will be a lot of people who said, oh, well, we got this right, when in the end, you really got lucky. There is a way to thread the needle on multiple fronts. You should never be a candidate that's only talking about one thing or one or two things that, frankly, are ranking well below the other thing that people are saying that they're concerned about. I think that people may have been able to change course in the last couple of weeks and pull it off, like a Kathy Hochul, for instance, here. But if you listen to people like Elisa Slotkin, who's in a tough race in Michigan there, when she says we didn't have a cohesive economic message as a party, that's something that you take home, especially going to a presidential election when President Biden is going to have to defend his record over the 4 years.
Josh, let's take a look at Ohio again, because more numbers are coming in those races that we have talked about a lot in 2, 7, and 10, and we're seeing as we get more vote there, and maybe Bill can pull that up for us.
Come
while
on,
we
buddy.
talk about it.
Come on, you can do
There's a very
it.
nice spread for Yesli Vega, and also for the candidate who is running against against Luria,
You're talking about Virginia.
Jennifer Kagan.
Virginia.
Jennifer, yeah, in Virginia. Did
You
I say
said
Ohio?
Ohio.
I'm
That's all right.
sorry.
He's going to
I'm
Virginia.
sorry, Virginia.
He's got it.
Okay, so we have two really interesting races here, Spanberger and Vega.
DeSantis
and then we have
campaign
Laura and
HQ,
Jennifer Kagan,
go
who,
DeSantis.
You know, the Republicans have been enormously enthusiastic about as a candidate, and she seems to be doing quite well.
Yeah, in Virginia, like these states that don't have a Senate race, that don't have a big governor's race, Republicans are doing really well. I'm seeing a mixed bag politically. Huge night for Republicans in Florida. This is a political tsunami for Governor DeSantis, for Senator Rubio. I think.
You know what, Josh? We're going to jump in because DeSantis has just come out to give his acceptance speech. So
Oh.
let's watch a little bit of this.
There we go. Come on, DeSantis. Let's hear what Ron has to say.
Well, thank you so much. You know, over these past 4 years, we've seen major challenges for the people of our state, for the citizens of the
85% in.
United
He's at
States, and above all, for the
59%.
cause of freedom. We saw freedom in our very way of life, and so many other jurisdictions in this country wither on the vine. Florida held the line.
DeSantis crushed him. Crushed him. Florida did hold the line, and I hope that he takes the
Facts
ticket.
over fear. We chose education over indoctrination.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
We chose law and order over rioting and disorder. Florida was a refuge of sanity when the world went mad. We stood as a citadel of freedom for people across this country and indeed across the world. We faced attacks. We took the hits. We weathered the storms.
The true
but
storm.
we stood
The
our
real
ground.
storms.
We did not back down. We had the conviction to guide us, and we had the courage to lead. We made promises.
There you go, Ron.
We made promises to the people of Florida, and we have delivered on those promises.
Man. I gotta text Jew and tell him to watch DeSantis'
So
thing.
today, after 4 years, the people have delivered their verdict. Freedom is here to stay.
Watch.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, thanks to the overwhelming support of the people of Florida, we not only won election, we have rewritten the political map.
Yeah.
Thank you for honoring us with a win for the ages. I want to thank all of our campaign staff, from campaign manager Janera Peck down. This was the best run campaign in the history of Florida politics. I want to thank all of our wonderful volunteers who work so hard to get out the vote. Your support means the world to Casey and I. God bless you and thank you.
That's right. God bless.
Now, it's a lot easier to run a good campaign when you got a great record to run on. And I would not have been able to see the level of accomplishments that we saw unless I had outstanding personnel working in the executive office of the governor, as well as heading state agencies. These folks worked hard to implement our agenda. They believed in our agenda, and the results have been historic. Thank you for your support and work.
What's sad is 40% still voted the other way.
Thank you to Miami-Dade County. Thank you to Palm Beach County. Now, we're
Even
still
Jill wrote it,
tallying the votes, but it's
Jill
clearly
fighting.
apparent that this election, we will have
Wish
garnered
Canada had a
significant
DeSantis.
number of votes
Win done
from
Florida,
people who may
Dade
not have
County.
voted for me
We
4
need to
years
win
ago.
the
And I
Senate
just wanna
seat.
let
Yes,
you
we
know,
do.
I am
We do.
honored to have earned your trust and your support over these 4 years.
Yes, we need
And
those
most
wins.
important of all, thank you to the greatest First Lady in all 50 states.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Look at her. She looks like she's going to prom or something.
For being a great wife, giving unwavering support, being a tremendous mother to our 3 young children, and serving as an example for women throughout this state, especially going through the battle of cancer. She is remarkable.
She's I'll be honest, she's remarkable and she's pretty damn good looking.
Now, today, is the culmination of the 2022 fall elections, but in reality, Americans have been voting for many years now. They've been voting with their feet, and the results of that behavior has been just as stark as our landslide victory today. States and cities governed by leftist politicians have seen crime skyrocket. They've seen their taxpayers abused. They've seen medical authoritarianism imposed, and they've seen American principles discarded. The woke agenda
Schumer wins
has
again.
caused millions of Americans to leave these jurisdictions for greener pastures.
You mean redder pastures?
Now, this great exodus of Americans, for those folks, Florida, for so many of them, has served as the promised land. We have embraced freedom. We have maintained
Let's go,
law
Brandon.
and order. We have protected the rights of parents. We have respected our taxpayers, and we reject woke ideology.
It's rejected all of it. We don't want that shit in our fucking schools. We don't want it in our lives.
In the legislature, we fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
That's right. He is literally Gandalf right now. That is him on the woke culture right now. God, I love it.
People have come here because our policies work. Leadership matters. We refuse to use polls and put our finger in the wind. Leaders don't follow, they
Leaders lead, boys and girls. From the
set
front,
out a
not
vision.
from the back.
We executed on that vision, and we produced historic results. And the people of this state have responded in record fashion. Now, while our country flounders due to failed leadership in Washington, Florida is on the right track. I believe the survival of the American experiment requires a revival of true American principles. Florida has proved that it can be done. We offer a ray of hope that better days still lie ahead. I am proud of our achievements in this state. I am honored by your support, and I look forward to the road ahead. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race in this first term, and I have kept the faith.
Let's see.
We've accomplished more than anybody thought possible 4 years ago, but we've got
Whoa.
so much more to do.
Oh,
and
8%
I
are
have
in.
only begun
8%.
to fight. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you for a historic landslide victory.
All right, we're okay.
Ron DeSantis, the major winner, winning re-election.
45% reporting,
Florida.
16
Britt,
of 35 races
Well, I
called.
would say that he's out. He sees this as a moment. He knows what the consequences of this is politically, not just in the state of Florida, but for his own personal ambitions. And I think
US
that's
House.
pretty well reflected in what you heard him say.
102 races
and there you
called.
see the family was a big part of the campaign. His wife went through a battle of cancer, and former TV broadcaster herself.
Republicans have won 15.
And a big asset on that campaign. Ron DeSantis winning in places that other Florida governors
What
have
about
not won
US
as
Senate?
Republicans since Jeb Bush in 2002. Now, we've got some calls to make. In the first of the two Oklahoma Senate races this year,
let's see.
Fox News can project that GOP Senator James Lankford will win a second full term in office.
Sweet.
In special election,
Sweet.
we project that Republican Markwayne Mullen will defeat Democrat Kendra Horn.
Moving to Connecticut,
Nice.
where Democratic
Special
Senator,
elections.
the incumbent Richard Blumenthal wins the third term by defeating
Knew that
Republican
was coming.
businesswoman Leora
Knew
Lee.
that was coming.
Over to
Connecticut.
Texas and the governor's race, where we can now project that Governor Greg Abbott will remain in the governor's
Yeah.
third term. He defeats high-profile Democratic candidate Beto O'Rourke. A lot will be
Fuck
said.
Beto.
Yeah, a lot will be said
Fuck
about this
Beto.
race, because this is multiple efforts on the part of Beto O'Rourke.
Multiple efforts and multiple tens of millions of dollars and a lot of focus on Beto O'Rourke as a candidate. Britt?
O'Rourke is becoming the Charlie Crist of Texas.
Yes, exactly.
I'm sorry, but I don't know who you're talking about. The
Robert
Democratic
Francis.
candidate was
Robert
Robert
Francis.
Francis O'Rourke, and not that other phony name.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone from the cover of Vanity Fair magazine and this shining hope of the Democrat Party. Jessica, your thoughts on what has happened to Beto O'Rourke? Does this seal the deal? Is he done now in politics or not?
Never say never with these things, but I think if the evening goes as I expect it to for Stacey Abrams as well, that there's going to be a lot of soul searching about, where you're dumping your money when you go on Act Blue, right? There are a lot of people whose races are a lot closer than you would expect, like Sherry Beasley in North Carolina. I'm not saying that she's going to end up pulling that off, but when you think about
Three-time
where your
loser in
dollars could
Texas.
go, that maybe that extra money going to Maggie Hassan, it looks better than expected there in New Hampshire. Defending Nevada, things like that, giving more money in Pennsylvania, maybe to Tim Ryan. Matter to us as a party, but they are seemingly just not great candidates to win statewide office, and I hope people will take stock of that.
Okay, we can also project that Democratic Governor Dan McKee will win the first full term in office, defeating another GOP businesswoman, Ashley Klaus.
And over to Connecticut, where Democrat incumbent Ned Lamont will defeat GOP candidate Bob Stefanowski.
And finally, in the great state of New Hampshire, we can project that Republican Governor Chris Sununu will win a fourth term. And Dana, he's been on the show with you.
I had a feeling that was happening. He's had 3
He
terms
also
back to back.
Possibly has other ambitions.
Well, he might.
Ooh,
So
does
there
he?
was a heavy
I wasn't
attempt
tracking
to
that.
recruit him to run for the Senate in New Hampshire.
Really?
And he didn't want to do that. And
He
I
could
can
have won,
understand,
I think.
when you're,
He could have
had
won
been
that.
Governor, you are the executive of your state. You're the CEO of your state. He loves New Hampshire. And he thought, why would I want to go to Washington and be one of 100 and not get anything done? He wanted to sink his teeth into things.
Very good point.
I don't know if he actually has ambition to run for president.
I personally would never want to be
but,
any
of course,
form of
that
executive.
decision doesn't need to be made for a little while, unless we're talking sooner than later with Britt.
Britt, but you mentioned Sununu earlier and how it plays with that Senate race and whether it affects that.
Well, it should. I mean, when you get these Republican governors winning by decisive margins, the hope, if you're a Republican, is that they will pull across the finish line some of these embattled candidates for the Senate who are in really tight races. You see that in Georgia, you see that in Florida, or not so much in Florida, but you certainly see it in New Hampshire, and you see it elsewhere. Mike DeWine, for example, in Ohio, how much can he help J.D. Vance to get across the finish line in what appears to be a pretty tight race out there?
And we'll see what happens in Arizona as well with Kerry Lake and Blake Masters. Okay, let's head over to Bill Hemmer. And
there we go, Bill.
Your favorite,
what do we got,
Virginia?
Bill?
We're gonna look at Virginia.
Yeah, let me just pop up here a moment here. We were talking about North Carolina a moment ago. I was just checking Ted Budd is taking the lead here. But let's pop up here to the House races in Virginia. Thanks for being patient. Okay, here we go. Virginia 2.
What do we got? What do we got? Virginia 2.
Jen Kiggins.
Yeah, Kiggins is up. Kiggins up
She's
by
got a lead 20,000 raw votes, about 11% on the board.
60% in at this time.
I mean, we saw this, about an hour and a half ago, she took the lead. She's maintained that lead in Virginia 2. They like that run there. Virginia 7, closer to Washington, D.C. This is Spanberger's race with
this is
Yesli
close.
Vega.
I want Vega. Come on, Vega.
This
I like
race is getting
Vega.
close
She's
throughout
pretty.
the night.
She's kind of cute.
We still got some vote out there right now, but Vega
It's
continues
close.
to
The
hang on to
83%. We got
a lead with a difference
83%
about
of the
6,300
electorate in on that
there
one.
in Virginia. Can I show you a couple things in the Senate race here that I'm seeing? Let's pop down here to Georgia.
This is the important one. This is the important one.
Georgia. And watch what's happening with Warnock and Walker. Warnock, about 30 minutes ago, had gone below 50%. He popped up again. Remember, 50% in Georgia is where you need to be to avoid the runoff come
Come on, Walker.
And
let's go, Herschel.
In the governor's race, he has been pretty consistent from what I'm seeing, well above 50% now for, really, I guess, ever since the polls closed 2 hours ago. So Kemp is running
Come on,
at
Kemp.
51.6.
If Abrams wins, that's so
Walker's
fucking
running
sad.
at 47.1. So again, it's about that 4-point spread that you see in between Walker and between Kemp. Let me get out here.
Hey, one thing, Bill.
Yes, go ahead.
There's a Libertarian in that race, in the Senate race, that's getting 3 times the vote of the Libertarian in the governor's race in Georgia. I mean, I don't know if that factors in, but there is a difference there.
Yeah, and it could take some votes away, and we're going to see.
Yeah, it could take them from Walker.
Can't reflect that on the board behind here, but listen, a point could be significant, right?
It very much could.
What's happening in
1%.
Ohio before kicking back over there real quick. Here is Ohio. Here is Ryan and Vance.
Oh, that's
Guys,
close.
This is really
23,000.
I mean, it's a different race than what we saw about 15 minutes ago. Vote total of 23,000. Here's what I would think about. I would think about Cuyahoga County.
Okay.
3-1 Democrats in that county. Ryan's got more votes out there in Cleveland, Ohio. I would think about Franklin County, Capital City, Columbus. Got a lot of votes out there, guys. You know, just about 30%.
Still got 70%.
Ryan's going to pick up a few more there. We'll see how that breaks down. And then down here in Hamilton County and Cincinnati is the east side of that county. There's a lot of votes out there, too, for Ryan in all likelihood because you're only checking.